Alrighty, we continue. It is the Zach Gelb show. How about last night? Pitt 7-0. They had a 41-13 beatdown up against Syracuse. And now joining us is their head football coach and Pat Narduzzi, who's been the HC of the Pittsburgh Panthers since 2015, and he's kind enough to join us right now. Coach, appreciate the time. Thanks for doing this, and congrats. How are you?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you having me on, Zach.
So I got to start you off actually with the colleague of mine who I said going into this game, I was very excited for this Syracuse Pitt game because I thought it was going to be a brawl on the field. And then afterwards, knowing Fran Brown the way that I do, and then you as well, I was just going to be entertained by the post-game commentary. But I didn't have this on my bingo card. Andrew Filipponi, before the game, a coworker of mine was tweeting out, because he's a Syracuse honk. I know he lives in Pittsburgh and works in Pittsburgh. McCord's the best passing quarterback in the country, pocket passer. He's going to break your heart tonight. And then I saw this morning you had a little fun at his expense on Twitter. So how did his tweet come across your desk?
Someone sent it to me, so I just had to, retweet that, give a little hand to the face. Like, come on, Pony, you know us better than that. I mean, he's been an honorary coach for a spring game. I thought he was more educated than he was, but you never know. I guess.
Is he now banned from ever being back on the sideline? Can we get him banned?
No, we love him. We love him. We love him here in Pittsburgh, and he's always welcome here.
It's just like sometimes you have to just punish your child. You had to punish him a little bit last night, right?
Got to put him in line, right? Got to put him in line so never, we hope he never makes that mistake again.
So how about the defensive effort last night? I've never seen that. A defense force 5 interceptions and also have 3 pick sixes by halftime. Just take me through it, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, our defense. We talked about having a really we wanted to start smart, and we knew it was a good football team. We knew that McCord could really slice you up with his arm, and they had great receivers and all that. So we knew that we're gonna have to play on our game, but we didn't want to wait till the fourth quarter. We squeaked by some games, they squeaked by some games, but we were not going to go to a squeaker. We didn't want this thing to get to the fourth quarter and squeak by. So that was kind of the plan going in, is that we wanted to start smart. Get our guys playing fast and again, doing all the details for 60 minutes, not just for, maybe 15 or 30 minutes of the game. So it's probably our most complete performance on defense. Offense, had 3 less possessions. So, there's a little lack of offense, as it appears, but our defense was on the field for over 40 minutes and having a lot of fun doing it. So it was impressive. I mean, those interceptions were big time. I mean, guys just doing the right thing all the time. And that's what it takes to play great defense, to play, to win 7 games in a row. It takes complimentary football. It takes taking care of the details. And that's what our kids did last night.
We've seen this year, Alabama be up big at halftime against Georgia, and then Georgia makes a comeback. Even last week, you got to see Georgia throw the first punch, and then for a little bit, Texas made it close. So even though you guys had a big lead at halftime, just what was the message to the squad through the first 30 minutes?
For the last 30 minutes, I mean, it was, at halftime, it was like, hey, it's 0-0. We're going to come out and do what we did in the first half. That was the message. But, we wanted to go out and play, Pitt football. And that's kind of what, the nation saw last night, just kind of how we play.
I know you talked about wanting to play a complete game. And this year, you guys have had some unbelievable comebacks in the backyard brawl, also up against Cincinnati as well. It's one thing to have a goal, right? Everyone wants to play a complete 60-minute game. You guys had 12 days to get ready for this one. Did you sense through the buildup that, okay, this is going to just be a mauling for Pitt right out of the gate this week?
Heck no, you never were that confident, Zach. I mean, ever. Ton of respect for what they do and how they do it. I mean, they didn't get to 5-1 by accident either. They're a really good football team. It was just kind of our night, and our kids were on, and our kids were our guys were enthusiastic about that game. It was a night game, our first night game of the year. And I'm not complaining. I love the day games. We played a lot of noon and 3:30 games, which has been great. And I hope we're that fortunate here as the season goes on. But our kids were jacked up. I mean, it was a great atmosphere. The Panther Pit, our student section did an outstanding job. It was loud in there, and it was a lot of fun last night.
I know your quarterback Eli Holstein is having a tremendous season. Did leave the game. Is everything okay with him?
I think everything's good with Eli. He's a tough kid, number one, and a little bit of precautions. He got a little ding, but I think Eli will be fine.
Yeah, I was really impressed with him a few weeks ago and just some of the toughness he displayed. When did you know? Because, right, you may think you know what you're getting when someone transfers, but then until he gets in your building, that's when you actually know who somebody is. When did you know that you had something special this year with him?
You know what? You find out in games. I mean, you don't even find out in practices. But it's we named Nate Darnell our starting quarterback. I brought him down to ACC media days in July, And that was our quarterback, and that's a fact. And then just as camp went on, it was just this guy just kept getting better. And he was a little banged up in spring ball, so we didn't know in spring ball. He had a hamstring in spring ball and couldn't run. Maybe didn't throw it like he is now. But just gradually, as the camp went on, it was like it just Nate was here, and Eli just kept coming. And in that last week, he took it over, and then we went with him. But then you don't really know until what happens on game day, right? When the lights turn on, it's showtime. Is he going to be what he was in practice? Is he going to continue to play consistent? And that's what we've seen out of him.
I know a lot of it is unknown, but sometimes when you have just a special team brewing, sometimes it surprises coaches and your expectations get exceeded. You guys were picked at ACC Media Day to finish 13th, in the conference. You're now 7-0. What did you think you guys had before the season started?
I thought we were a good football team, but I did the year before, and I did the year before when we won a championship in 21. So you won 9 games the next year or whatever it was. But as a coach, you're confident. But I really knew, like, after that Cincinnati game, that our kids found a way to you're down 21. We came back and won that football game. You talked about some of those comebacks and who threw the first punch and who had the final shot. But I knew after that Cincinnati game, this team was a little bit special, that we were able to come from that far behind on the road with a redshirt freshman quarterback in his first road game starting in college football. Like, you knew right then, like, okay, this can be special. And our defense just kept getting better as the season's going on.
Like you said, your quarterback wasn't your starting quarterback right away to start the year. He was coming over from Alabama as well. What was that transfer portal process kind of like for you, and what made you guys kind of intrigued by him?
We had a connection. His trainer. We knew the trainer, and we found out he was going in the portal. As soon as he went in the portal, it was like, let's go get him. We saw high school tape, and then eventually saw some Alabama practice tape. Loved him, and it was a match in heaven.
It's always interesting, the portal, because, like, as a college football fan, and I know your view is probably different, I'm not thinking about the portal right now. But when you have a player like the way that he's playing, I already see the articles, I see the videos, I saw it from the Post-Gazette leading into this game. How does Pat and how does Pitt get Eli to stay at Pitt? Like, what's your answer to that when you have a player who's playing really good football, your program's humming right now, and people are just kind of throwing it out there, hey, because of the nature of the sport, there's a chance he could leave after this year?
Yeah, it's always a concern, but first of all, we're going to take care of Eli, okay? And that's the number one thing. We got a new athletic director in Alan Green. We're excited about his opportunity here at Pitt to help us, continue to get better in every avenue. And NIL and what we do that way with the house settlement and all that is going to be critical. But but besides the money, Zach, again, I've said this a million times. It's not about the money, and I've turned down a lot of jobs because I'm not worried about money, and I try to educate our guys. It's not about the money, and then sometimes it is, but like you have to be taken care of. But you know what? Happiness is important. And I stayed at Michigan State with Mark D'Antonio for 8 years with plenty of opportunities to leave, and stayed. Turned down a lot of money to stay because I was happy. And the one thing I'd say is I think Eli's really happy here, and I think that's the first thing. When you have a good culture, you got a good team, and you like where you are, and you're having success. You've seen a lot of NFL quarterbacks get traded and have success somewhere else. Okay, you can say he got traded from Alabama to Pitt, but then you've seen those other moves that maybe the guys aren't so successful. Ultimately, in the end, you want to have a great long career in the NFL. That's where you're going to make generational monies, generational wealth. And that's what it's all about, is to be a first round, pick like Kenny Pickett was, and be set for life. And, Kenny came back for another year, made a great decision, could have, had opportunities to go to Notre Dame. Notre Dame's, calling him. He's not even in the portal, they're calling him. But things like that happening, that's what's going on in college football nowadays. But, Kenny, because of the culture, because of the people and the relationships he built at the University of Pittsburgh, that's why people stay. And to me, if you're treating these kids like your son, like we do, it's not lip service. Our team is going to stick together.
Coach, always appreciate your passion. It's been a joy to watch your team this year. Once again, congratulations on the victory. Good health and good luck the rest of the way.
Hey, we appreciate it, Zach. Thanks for having me on, and hail to Pitt.